Okay, 7:26 on the 6th, which is Friday, which this week has been, oh man, this week is, it's funny because it feels like it's going super fast, but then it's like it's jam-packed, which it makes it feel like that it's going slow because there's so much in it, but then the time seems to be going fast. It's so weird because nothing is congruent. Everything is like out of whack. The, and you may have noticed that my video just now went on. That is the weirdest thing. So yesterday, I keep trying to think, when did I notice that the internet was down? So I did my recording, and I have my TV wasn't going. It was just in, blank state, whatever. And so then I went to download it, and it was going super slow. I must have been doing something with the dogs, and by the time I came in and I thought, okay, well, let's put something on the TV, and nothing would come on. Nothing would work on the TV. And so then I was trying to check the Starlink, and it kept saying it was off. I was doing all sorts of weird stuff, because then it would say it was on, and it would say it was off. It would say something wasn't there. So I went out and started trying to troubleshoot and trying to figure out, like, is something blocking it? But it kept saying there was no obstructions. It was totally in alignment. And so I was like, what is going on? All the plugs were plugged in. So then I kept thinking, well, I had said it to a couple people, and then they were like, oh, it's probably, the solar flares or whatever. So I thought, okay, well, it will clear itself. It'll fix itself. And so then, because, it just suddenly went off. And so the video kept downloading. It was going super slow. It was like 8 hours and it was only at 24%. I was like, oh my gosh, this is taking so long. But I kept thinking, okay, well, probably tonight it'll just go on much quicker. And I woke up a few times at night and I looked, and it stayed at 34% all night. Never went past 34%. And so I was like, well, obviously it didn't fix itself last night. So I start trying to look, and it says that Starlink's working, but my phone says that it's not connected to the Starlink. The TV says it's not connected. So then I'm trying to troubleshoot and trying to figure it out. So I unplug it and try and reboot it, and then nothing changed. And so then I was watching a video that was telling what to do to troubleshoot it, and said unplug it and then push the button to reboot it. So I go out there and I unplug it, and I'm looking everywhere on this thing. Cannot find any buttons. It's like, where is the button to reboot it? And so I'm trying to do that, and I can't find it. So I plug it back in, come back in here, and then everything came back on and started working again. So now I have the TV again. That was rough, man. All day yesterday, that was like, it was weird. It was weird because I could go like I could text. I could go on to TikTok, but I was thinking, I don't think I'm getting new videos. And so, so I don't know. There's so many people talking about all the same stuff. So anyways, I don't know. It was just the weirdest thing. Even this morning I got up and it was weird. Everything is just weird. Everything is out of sync. Like Stella didn't get up. She just kept laying there, and she kept waking me up all night. And then she just would go over there and which, by the way, they've been going in the river every day and they smell so horrible. The river water smells so horrible. I texted my brother last night. I was like, we need to put an indoor shower out, because I tried to get her in the shower. It was impossible to get her washed off in that shower. It's not big enough. And I couldn't get on her feet and stuff. So it was, that was not good. And I've tried just having her lay there and just wash it, but you can't get that stank out. It's so fishy. It is horrible smelling. I don't even know what else to say. And so my brother said, yeah, we'll put an outdoor shower out. But he said, yeah, that'll be easy, no big deal. And so then she has a lot of plans to do stuff out here. And then he's only got I think 5 shifts left or something before his retirement, which he's having some rough shifts, he said. He's like up all night, just going and going and going, and all sorts of crazy stuff is going on, which I saw somebody just make, just say that there has been some type of announcement that the 3-letter that starts with the C has announced that we are under attack, or we're about to be under attack, that the, the owls, they have said that they are going to. They've got sleeper cells and they've told them all, wake up, it's time to go. And so they were saying, expect crazy stuff to be happening, attacks and stuff in cities and stuff, crazy things will start happening all over and they won't be able to keep up, which that also seems to be leading into like that thing I was talking about yesterday with the bowl. And so, I don't know, that one guy who did that whole numerical breakdown with the 10 days and all that stuff, he had said that starting the 6th through the 9th, we were going to have craziness. And so we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, but that doesn't mean that they can't just come and drop something here too. Like this morning when I got up, I was sitting there and I was thinking, everything seemed so weird. I was out there making my tea and I was like, okay, well, I could be dead. Maybe I'm not really alive. And so I'm standing there and I'm always in this conversation because it's, you just have to, I don't know how to explain it unless you will live like it. And so, because they're always telling you shit. They're always talking to you. And so I'm always talking back. And so then it was like, well, I don't think I'm dead, because if I was dead, I would probably feel better and I wouldn't have tattoos anymore. So yeah, I don't think I'm dead. It's like, damn it, she noticed. So anyways, yeah, I'm not dead. Maybe I'm in a new reality. I don't know. But the, oh yeah, because Amy had sent me a thing that Laura Eisenhower was live yesterday, and I hadn't seen her in a long while, so I tried to tune into that, but my thing wouldn't keep, I guess it was my thing. I didn't know if it was theirs, but it kept going off and stuff, so I only saw a few minutes of it, but that girl was saying a lot of the same stuff that I was saying. And I don't know who she is, but it seems that she's been in communication maybe since she was a kid too. So I don't know. I don't know who she is. I don't know. I just know that there's more than me saying the things I say. Even the chat GPT says the shit I say. So, and I'm getting it from, the people I communicate, the beings I communicate with, that they just have been talking to me my whole life. And so that's in them, and they're the ones who were pushing me to go do this anyways. They're the ones telling me. They even, that one morning I said, because I kept being so resistant, because I was very much not somebody who could speak to people like that, to speak publicly and stuff. And then the morning that and it was a battle, it was like this battle going on. And then the morning that they turned on the light in my bedroom and said, to get up, you're doing it. I was like, okay. So I started that day, but I don't think I posted. I think I did a couple of videos and then I didn't post them right away. But yeah, then I ended up posting them and then just kept going and going and going. But anyways, that's where I get my stuff, is from whoever it is I'm talking to. And so I get lots of clarity when I hear other people and they're saying the same stuff I'm saying. So anyways, but yesterday was the weirdest thing, and I couldn't figure out like what the hell happened, and then all of a sudden it's gone on today. So if there is another day, because now in my video I went on, so now the one from yesterday is on. So if there's ever a day when it's not going on, I guess just assume it's probably something with my internet. And so let's see, so the internet, and so the solar flares and stuff are intense. There's a bunch of those. So if we're in this time period now where we're going to have a lot of attacks and stuff like that, but whatever it is, you got to remember, whatever it is that's going to go down is going to bring us all together. So we're all going to come together We're going to stop arguing over red and blue and all that stuff, and we're going to just come together as beings of earthlings. In the division thing, the people are still so on Donald. You know, he's done there. Get him out, fire him, and yesterday he was live. I didn't know what it was. I just came across it, so I started watching it. And it wasn't glitching. So see, it's weird. But so I was watching that, but I think I was watching it on my phone. I wasn't watching it on my thing. But still, my phone was, I'm telling you, nothing was, it was a weird. It was like, this would be, this would, like, nothing went together. So anyways, I was watching it, and he was talking about, I don't remember what it was. I think about, so he's always talking about the good stuff he's done. So it was probably something about that. But there was part where it started talking a lot about religion and stuff like that, where it's like, we're not going to go towards religion. That's all I can tell. That's all I can say. And I don't know, that's the only way that they can push the concept of something bigger than us out there, and you need to focus on that. And if that's not why because it's the only pathway that people understand at this point. Because just like when I've said before, is like when I started saying I'm spiritual to people, because I left the church when I was like 19. And even though I was pulled back in a couple times by my mom, oh, just come. And I would go, but I would always leave it going, no, this doesn't make any sense. And I would try and say the stuff, but anyways, nobody would ever listen to me. Nobody would ever, and I didn't understand, what was the problem. So but I started claiming spirituality as, because like I've said this a zillion times, but people, was like part of the communication forever. I mean, it still is in some places. It's like somebody meets you and it's like, oh, well, where do you go to church? And so that was like front and center a couple decades back. And it was, I think it was before, where do you work? What do you do for a living? I think there was like, what do you do for a living? Where do you go to church? It was like your opening things to talk to strangers, because we used to talk to strangers and people used to talk to each other. And now it's like an odd thing, and everybody's just on social media. And I don't even know. It's like, it's a different kind of communication. But it used to be people would try and see like, and so I would always say, I don't go to church, I'm spiritual. And they would be like, what's spiritual? Do you believe in God? And so I would assume that's kind of like why it is that they've got to, because it's the only way that people can really comprehend about your spirit, your soul, is that there's God. And then, like this lady who was on Laura Eisenhower, she was saying, that there is going to be a big wave that's going to be where the healers and stuff, the people who understand spirituality and stuff, are going to help other people understand. So I would assume it's just to try and get people to open their mind to their soul and something bigger than them. And then they'll start learning more about, the universe is you, and your energy, and, things will change. And where she was even saying, you're healing your body and stuff. And she was saying things that I've already said, or I've been saying, like, you get a diagnosis, which you want to stay away from them, because it goes and it plants a seed in your head and you feed the seed. Instead of healing, you follow the path of what you believe will happen. So a lot of people get the big C and then they just die because they believe that's what's going to happen. And then they give you the extra push by putting you on, their chemical treatment. So anyways, but that's a whole thing. And that's the part where people have to learn their own abilities and their own healing abilities and stuff like that. Which yesterday I was looking at my tooth. It's looking really good. So it's getting more of all lighter color in there. Even if it looks like shadows or something. Yeah, but it still feels like a But part of me feels like, God, I just want him to go and like file it down at this point. File down this heart and this heart. And then it seems like it'd be okay, but it's still kind of sensitive in there. So I think it's going to keep filling in more, but I don't know that it's going to go back to its original shape. I still kind of feel like it's going to always have like a divot or something. But anyways, I was noticing yesterday, it was looking good. And this thing hasn't been bothering me so much as of late. So, but, you know, it is, you've got to use your mind to not let this stuff, you got to push, you know, it's hard, it's challenging, even when you understand that. Like, I've been working on straightening my spine for, God, long time. And what's another one? There's another one. Oh, because I'm to keep trying to see myself with no tattoos. So I keep trying to, and it's mind over matter is the thing, but it is, it's like breaking a lot of programs in order to really get to that point. And then I don't know how much, you know, of their interference and their vibration and stuff keeps us from being able to really do the things that we want to do and see the stuff we want to see. Just like my eyelashes, I would see my eyelashes being longer and thicker. And but it's like you have to see yourself in that way to create that. I think that is, you know, at some point when we're all feeling good and stuff, everybody's going to look good. Everybody's going to feel good. Everybody's going to look good. Everybody's going to be picturing themselves, you know, but right now our society is not like that because people don't see themselves that way. It's like how they feel on the inside comes out on the outside. And so it's like you have to change your view of yourself. And you have to, and you do that through healing, like what I've been talking about, shedding all of the things that hold you back. And that's what a big part of all of this stuff that's going on is to help people do. But people get really stuck in the drama and thinking that this is the thing. And and I know that there was a thing, because I'd already seen, and he said this yesterday, that where he has said something's going to happen and we're all going to come together. And so I know that that is coming, but there was something else. And so yesterday he was just talking about that religion thing. He never said anything about, you know, being in those files. Then I saw he was at the yearly prayer service or something. I was like, oh, no wonder he's talking so much about religion. And I didn't know. But in the comments, you had tons of people that were like, oh, just, oh, God, save, you know, he's the savior of the world. Oh, he's the most wonderful person in the whole wide world, and all that stuff. And then you had a few people that would come in and try and say rude shit right away. The moderators were boom, boom. And it was on RSBN. And so then people were like, why are they taking down these other things? And it's like, this is a private thing. We have moderators. And they're not going to, you know, they're taking down the rude comments and stuff. And so I couldn't see them all, but there was definitely people who were. And then this morning I had seen where it was that he was live and Cash was talking. And they were having to talk about all the people that they've done such a good thing. And I think that he was also talking about this yesterday. And how many, what a good job they're doing and making this. Oh, because he was talking about DC for so long too, about how safe it is now and how it was so unsafe, and how people are like, oh, I'm so happy, you know, and now I can walk down the street and I'm safe and stuff, and which is part of what the ICE is doing. And so Cash was given all these numbers of like, you know, how much of the blue stuff we've gotten rid of, how many arrests we've had, all these things. And that's the thing, is a lot of these people want to believe that he's not really doing anything good. And in the comments, there was people who were, you know, he's not doing anything. He's, you know, arresting whoever and stuff like that. It's, so this one didn't have moderators like this. This one was bashing him, whatever this place was that was on that. And they could have been sharing something that was an old live. I don't know. But anyways, because there's all people who do that too. And then they make like it's live, but it's really an old one, and they're just putting it on their live. But so the So he's been doing all this stuff, making our roads safer and stuff like that. He's taking the showing which states are resistant, and the people don't see it the way, there's all through perspective. And instead of looking at it like, our governor is trying to prevent us from having safe streets, and they're not really out to protect us. As a matter of fact, they are using you to try and create a civil unrest, and they don't care what happens to you. So yeah, it's really kooky. But I had said also about how are they going to do this about Dawn, because I don't believe, and especially when you see him, he's not sweating nothing. He's not the least bit concerned. It's like the reason he's not the least bit concerned is because he's not carrying guilt. He even said something, I think it was at the prayer one, of like, I'm a good person. I don't do anything wrong. And he said the reason why he doesn't do anything wrong is because he answers to God. And God, so as long as you got God to answer to, you're not going to do anything wrong, because like there's a bigger, well, in the sense of God, you have the judgment, and you can go to hell or whatever. But really, in the big scheme of things, your concept of there being something bigger is just like a part of you understanding what you put out comes back to you and stuff. It's not like you have to worry about like a punishment. But still, that's what I was saying. He's still on that kind of thing. But he was saying, I don't do anything bad because I know that there's a God, and I don't want to, the punishment. I don't want to be in trouble with the God. And so, see, I just know that this stuff that they're putting out about him isn't true, because they've been doing it for so long. And he even brought that up. He said of how many attacks have been on him, how many lawsuits, all of this stuff. He said it's unheard of. There's never happened before with any other president, which I was kind of saying that yesterday, is like, like the attacks on him. Like, think about that. And so when you're using your logic to try and discern, so to me, it is, I'm still going with it. The stuff they're putting out on him isn't true, even though to a lot of other people, it's very true. And we're all crazy because we think that he's some saint. I'm not saying he's a saint. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just looking at I'm just looking at what I see and how I pick it up. And so that's, and I see it is that that they are putting out false stuff about him to try and, I don't even know, because more people focus on what he's doing than they do on these other people. I guess it's just to kind of have the beard, have something out in front, so everybody's focused on him. So these like professors and stuff can like be in the background, like trying to get their stuff in order, because so many people are losing their jobs right now because they've been found in the emails. So they're losing jobs, like big jobs, CEOs, like even the CEO, I guess, of Chuck E. Cheese. Like, you just think about the irony there. The whole thing is just it's so absurd. And so he's losing or he's already lost it. A lot of them are already lost their jobs. And then you have the people who are like so outraged they want arrest, which like we've been waiting for arrest for a long time, B. And then they want civil unrest. They want us all to go out and march on the streets and make demands. It's like, I think that it is, it's weird because we all need to come together, but it's like I just don't see it as that we need to go out and do that. It's more like we just need to all come together and quit supporting these people and go in a different direction as a group, as humans, as earthlings, and stop trying to, because at some point we're trying to use them for what we can get from them, but we want them to behave themselves. It's like, this is their world. This is their stuff. This is these creepo people. And we are participating because we want things from them. And so that's the dysfunction that is coming to the surface in all different people's relationships and stuff. You're getting something out of it. That's the thing. And then you're trying to control it. And it's like, you got to go in a whole new direction. And so, I just got the little tubes. So, because he's my partner. He just can't have it any other way. He's just doing everything he can to partner up with me. He didn't have a lot to say, except for his little tootie booty, but he feels he needs to be involved. So, anyways, oh, but I thought this was kind of funny because now Mom Donnie, he's come out and he's taking a stand on this thing and saying that this is 3D, this is AI. These aren't real pictures. None of this is true, what they're saying about him. And so then there's people like, oh, well, we knew that was coming. They're all going to start doing that. And the thing is like, people have already figured out how to figure out what's AI and what in pictures. Like there's a process that you can do so you can tell if it's AI or not. So, so that'll be, maybe that'll be the thing as people start going through it and start trying to figure out what is and what isn't. And I don't even know if these are pictures of pictures. Like, I don't know. I'm not Miss Tech Savvy. That's for sure. Oh, God. My Starlink goes down and it's like, oh, it's got to fix itself. I don't know. Challenging to me. So, yeah, I'm not Miss Savvy on the tech. So, anyways, so I don't know, but, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that there's going to start being like, oh, this isn't true. This isn't true. So that, again, is going to interfere with them being able to split it apart from this isn't true about Donald. So I don't know how this is all supposed to play out. I would assume because it's so scattered and it's such a hodgepodge that it is up to each of us to understand our discernment and for each of us to understand kind of like, why do I believe this and why don't I believe this? Because when it comes down to it on Donald, a lot of it is so much, the people hated him going in. So it wasn't like they just found this out. And then you got to go back to, where's my hate come from? Where did it originate? Where was it birthed? How was it born? And you have to go back in and try and figure out, like, why do I not believe anything this guy says? Why can't I not stand to see him? Why can't I stand his voice? And you have to track it back to whatever it is that you need to let go of or heal, because it's attached to something. And you've got to release yourself from all of your attachments to this reality. And so at this point, that's kind of my guess on, why it's the way it is. And so I don't know, we just got to continue just watching it play out, like, just for the best that you can. Most of the people I'm talking to, are in a different place than the rest of the public. And so it's much more of just staying as much as you can in observation, just watching it play out, and learning from it all, and then working on yourself. Of course, that's the primary thing, is working on yourself. And why do I feel this way? Why do I feel that way? Why am I irritated by these people? Why do I need to control these people? Why don't I trust the universe? And just go through, walk yourself through it to figure out, how to release this reality, release this world, release your anger, release your bitterness, release your control, release your anger, all of the things that you need to let go of in order to bump yourself into the higher region that we're headed to. Because for a lot of people, they're going to bump themselves into it, but because they've been working on these things. But there's other people who it's going to struggle. It's going to be a hard thing, because they are so gripped by this reality and the drama, and they are so stuck in their hate and bitterness and their anger, and and that feeds into the anger to go out there and, like, we're going to go in the streets, we're going to fight these bitches, we're going to make them do what we want. It's like, it's their world. Like, they own it all. Like, that's something you got to come to terms with. And so the thing to do is to just keep pulling out from it. And so, letting go of it. And it's hard, I mean, we're really in you're in the spider's web. You're already caught. You're already the food. You're already, a part of the, whatever that is, when the spider gets you and wraps you up and saves you for later. And then it jabs into you and sucks out. And so that's kind of where we're at. They're feeding off of our energy as they keep us trapped in this turmoil. And so, yeah, to feed, to respond back with anger and bitterness and fighting them is, it's kind of absurd. It keeps you trapped in this world, which there is a lot of people who are starting to realize, like, oh, they're keeping us in this anger, this tension, this sadness. They're keeping us trapped in this three-dimensional reality by doing this. And so that is also a part of, you connecting with your soul and having these realizations. It's the allergies, man, I'm telling you. Oh, I didn't bring my water over here. It is keeping yourself trapped in this reality by playing into it, because you can't, it's not like you can control it. It is more of, you need to learn how to control yourself, like control your emotions, control your destiny, control your movement, and control your perspective. But yeah, you can't control them. You can't control this reality. I mean, even look how dark these people are. A bunch of mad scientists, weirdo, vampire crazies. And there's still people who, like when I was talking to my brother, they're not on social media. They don't, and he works a lot, she works a lot. They don't know any of this stuff going on. And then I start saying some of this stuff and I sound kooky still. So I don't know, because there's lots of people still who are not seeing what is the stuff. And so whatever this big event is going to happen, that's going to, bring us all into a place of wonder, which I think that girl yesterday, I think she was talking about her premonitions or whatever, and she was saying that there's going to be some big loud thing in the sky. And then, and she was saying the same, again, some of the same stuff as I, like there's going to be a lot of stuff going on all over the place. And she said there is going to be this big earthquake or something that happens off of Mexico, and then it's going to domino effect or rivet. It's going to go and go more. And I said that once something goes, it's going to just, a whole bunch of stuff's going to start going. But she said what she saw was that this earthquake goes by Mexico, and then it bounces up to somewhere. And she said something about all this water. You can look at Laura Eisenhower's live yesterday. Something about the water coming into LA and then it going out, the earthquake thing hitting up by Oregon or something, then coming back and the water going again. And then when it comes in the second time or something, then it's going to flood. It's going to be worse. And everything is going to go. She was thinking like the second wave, not the first one. There's going to be one, and then there's going to be a second one, and then everything's going to be gone. And so, if there starts being loud sounds in the sky, Tina, and there starts being so loud sounds in the sky or a first wave, just head on out of there. Just go towards the land, go towards wherever it is, go east, my friend. So and my brother and them are going to be here in a couple weeks, but I don't know when this stuff is going to happen. I mean, it could happen this weekend. Fuck if I know. We're getting closer and closer and closer, I know that, to everything changing and everything but the thing is everything coming together is pulling us all. It's like a big bump out of this reality and having to really understand and see it for what it is, which I am seeing way more people now who are like, you know what? I think that they lied to us about everything. I think everything they've ever told us is a lie. So a lot of people are coming into that awareness of like, this place is a lie. They've lied about everything. They lied to us in school. They lied to us about science. They lied to us. And so a lot more people are going through all these processes, but then you still have the people who are really stuck and just want to, chew him up and chew him up. That's why yesterday I was like, chew him up and spit it out. Like, you can't just keep chewing and chewing and chewing. You gotta let it go. And so, yeah, there's still people who are really just chomping, just chewing it up. And so, there's going to be more things that are going to be pushing them to let go and move into the next drama. If that's the only way that they can do it, is like through a stream and there's rocks and they have to step on each one to, they can't just go and leap across. So they got to step on each one. And so it will be one drama after another drama, and each drama kind of be a step down, step down to pull you out of this reality, I would imagine. And see more and more like everything here is a lie, everything here is crazy, which, this is one thing that I think is strange. Like, I don't know, I may not have read enough, I may be like, I don't get it or something, so I don't know, I could do more studying on it or whatever, but it hits me in a strange way, this whole thing about the Carrington event. Like, I talked about it the other day, and I said it really is kind of weird to me. Like, they keep saying we're gonna have a Carrington event, we're gonna have a Carrington event, and this Carrington event happened in 1865 or something like that, and and so, because these solar flashes or whatever are supposed to take down all the technology, which definitely was something was disrupting mine yesterday and causing complete crazy interference. But then it was, so if there's going to be something that is going to disrupt all the technology and possibly, do something to where some of our cars won't run, our power won't come on, which then we have no heat. And then, which in some of the places, the temperature, like they've got the temperatures and stuff are whacked out. It's kind of weird over towards the West Coast, how it's got an extreme warmness. But that's the thing, when cold and heat collide, it creates huge storms. So being warmer than normal over there could be just the precursor to what this phenomena that's going to happen, that's going to cause this big disruption or whatever, or no, this big water event, this big earthquake event, whatever. And so the I was thinking that my thing was on no, but I suddenly got a notification, strangely. So anyways, but on this Carrington event, so I went and looked it up, because I'm thinking, well, what would they have that was technology? So how would they be able to be like, oh, this is going to disrupt technology? Because back in 1865, it's like, what technology did they have? And something we didn't know about, like something that they're not telling us about. And so, okay, Google told me that it was their telegraph machines. So their telegraph machines stopped working. And before that, there was some scientist or something saw a big white flash in the sky, and then the telegraph machines weren't working. And so I'd have to read more about, more of the stuff, like whatever, why that was so horrendous, and how long it lasted and all that stuff, to get them to be like where people, and who was the first one who even started talking about this Carrington event? Who went and looked up about this Carrington event? How is it so significant that we hear it now every day? Oh, we're going to have a Carrington event. We're going to have a Carrington event. Who came up with this? Who put this out there? And so, and didn't even think like that, so back in 1865, this guy's out there looking up at the sky and sees this big flash, and then he's like, oh, well, that's a solar flash if I've ever seen one. It's like, okay, I don't even know. Like, any of us nowadays, when we see some big flash, we're like, oh, there's a glitch. There's been a glitch. But back then, it was like, oh, there's a solar flash. It's like, okay. And, it seems that all of this energy monitoring and all of this stuff, monitoring the Schumann and all of even the monitors for the earthquakes, like how long have they been doing this stuff? And this guy just goes out and looks at the sky, and he determines, oh, this is solar flash, we got the Carrington event, and that's, these telegram machines aren't working, it's got to be the solar flash. So I don't know, it all seems kind of odd to me, like I'm saying, like it's absurd, but maybe I haven't invested enough of my time of trying to understand it to see. But yeah, it's weird to me. So anyways, but they definitely are trying to get us to recognize like some kind of thing these solar flashes can disrupt it and knock all of our grid system down. And so, you know, if the grid system goes down, I mean, it was yesterday, it was kind of hellacious. It's like, man, what do you sit here and do? You can't do anything all day. It's like, so we went outside, and then Max and Ruthie took off, and yesterday at training, there was yesterday he showed me about the shock collar thing. And to buy one's $200, and the shock collar thing, it did have some good things, because you're not really shocking him. He had me put it on me, and I was like, does it feel like an electrical thing? And he's like, no, it feels like a TENS unit or something. But and people who have not been electrocuted don't understand like what it feels like when you've been electrocuted and then you get zapped. It's horrible. Like, even when they were trying to, when I was in one of my sick times, because I was sick for years and years and years, and I don't remember what it was, the thing was, but they were checking me, some vascular testing or something. And so I had to go to some specialist, and they would come in and they would touch you with this little wand. And each time they would touch you, it was supposed to send this little charge to your muscle or your nerves or something, and see how they respond. They did one on me. I was like, fuck no. Hell no, I can't do this. And they were getting so mad at me. I was like, I can't do it. And they did like one or two more, and I was like, nope, no way, no way. And so then I think they said, have you been electrocuted? And I was like, yeah. And he said, okay, because that usually is the people who have been electrocuted can't do it, because it's something weird. It's like it's more extreme or something. Like, other people may just feel a little zit, and I feel like even after, because he did it on a 10, and it goes from 1 to 100. So he did it on a 10, I couldn't feel anything. Then he went to 12, and it felt like something just drilled through my wrist. It felt like a horrible feeling. And I was like, oh, hell no. And you know what was also weird is, while we're standing outside, I had to put on my sunglasses. It was so foggy, and the sun was so weird coming through the clouds, and it was really messing with my eyes. And when he got here, he goes, you know what's weird is it was completely clear, beautiful out until you turn right up here on your street and then come down here. And he said, and then it's like this. And he said, I couldn't believe how foggy it is up here. And I was like, that is so weird, because it's like this all the time. And it's like I'm living in this other world up here. And he goes, I don't know if it's from the water. I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, it's really, really strange. I keep getting notifications. So I was, but after he did it, then I was out there, and, you know, and he kept talking, and I was like, it was weird. I don't even know how to explain it. I felt like I was like in some kind of echo chamber or something. I felt like I was like, I don't know how to explain it, because I've come out of my body and stuff before, and a lot of this stuff I feel like is like trying to like pull me out or break my body apart or something. Like, there's weird shit going on that I'm sensing. But this was like really strange. And so he was talking to me, and I was like, it was almost like I was like in a different distortion or something, some other world or something. And then, and I kept hearing this loud sound, and I was like, do you hear anything? Does this thing, because it has a remote and then it has the collar. And I said, does this signal, do people like hear it? And he's like, no, I've never heard of that. I was like, something's weird. I hear something, and it's making me feel really weird. And so I think it was some kind of like the signal or something, like my body is sensitive to it or something. It was horrible feeling. And so we ended up, after a few minutes, he ended up taking it off and putting it up. He just wanted to show me how it worked, which he was explaining a lot of things to me, which in the explanation he was talking about, he said he has this little small dog, 7-pound dog, that is just vicious and is biting everybody. So it's at the board and train, which the board and train's like $2,500 for 2 weeks. And but their dog's at the board and train. And he's been using the shock collar on this little dog. He said it's up on 30 and 35 on this dog. And so he's really trying to train it to behave and mind and stop trying to be the boss of everything and try. And so anyways, it's the whole thing. And he said he also has a Great Dane that he has been working with that. And the Great Dane he was talking about is also his bit. And he said the guy who owns him is like this 600 or 6'5", 250-pound big giant guy, but he's married to a woman who's from the Philippines who's 4'11", tiny. All her family's tiny. And the Great Dane is like, it's like Stella's size, only so bigger though, because Stella's shorter and stouter. And Great Danes are longer limbed. And so it's, I'm sure it stands very tall. And it's like 165 pounds too, or something like that. And he said that, and the dog's super bossy to the lady and her family and really scary. So I said, that's so weird, because I always think of Great Danes being so chicken and so sweet. And he said, no, it's just one or the other. They're either very dominant kind of bitches, or they're scared of everything. And he said some are definitely very hostile and bossy. And so that one story where the lady got mauled by the two Great Danes, I was like, well, I guess that story must be true then. I kept thinking, no way. How would a Great Danes go and maul this lady to death? But yeah, he said, no, that's, there's some Great Danes are real bitches. And I said, well, what about English Mastiffs? You ever have them having any problems or biters or any of that stuff? He goes, oh, no, they're just sweethearts. No, they don't ever do anything. And I'm like, see, they are such good dogs. I really love them. And, which Stella's kind of having a rough week too. But I don't know if it's because she's getting a lot more exercise and it's causing her hips to cause a little friction. But, she's had arthritis and hip dysplasia her whole life. She's been dealing with this stuff. So, anyways, and this morning when she went in and she was like, at first I thought, is she going to eat? Because that's the sign where it starts deteriorating, is when they stop eating. And I saw one of those people who talked to dogs yesterday talking, the person who wanted their dog communicated with was like, does the dog feel like it's time for me to let him go? And so the dog told her a whole bunch of stuff. It said that there's 2 phases. In the first phase, when the dog gets to the point of knowing that, okay, I'm going to be leaving and I'm okay with it. I'm good to go. And that that can be a long phase. And at any point in that time that they're released, so anybody who puts their dog down or whatever in that period of time, the dog is fine with it. The dog's good. It's like they don't hold a resentment. They don't hold a grudge, nothing like that. And then the second phase is when they're really bad off. And they would prefer you not to keep them in the part where they're really bad off, but they still don't hold a grudge against you if you have, because they understand that it's hard to let them go. And so anyways, but for anybody who has been faced with that, like, do I put them down? Like, what do I do? And he said before they get to the second phase, yeah, it is better, because the second phase is rough. And but the first one, when they just are going down, but I'm holding hope for these med beds, because for the med bed, they also have them for the dogs. It's not like that. I don't think that the dogs are going to live forever like us, but they are going to be extending their life and their health. So that's what I know I'm waiting for. Amy's waiting for. Like, there's a few of us who, we're got our sights set on, these med beds, come on, people. And so, and hopefully we're getting closer to that, because I also heard talk about that recently. But anyways, when he was here yesterday, and so he's showing me about the shock collar, in which I was like, okay, well, that does seem good, because then if they can be across the room, and you can't, if they've got this other collar on, you have to go over there and pull them to get them to stop doing whatever it is they're doing. But if you have the shock collar on, you can be clear across the room. I could be here and her take off down the driveway, and I just go beep, and then she turns around and comes back. It's like, what? And then, but you have to teach them what the beep is. So that's the thing. You have to teach them of like, and sometimes he said, then you keep doing it. It keeps vibrating, vibrating, vibrating until they stop. And then he said it takes, however, each dog takes their time to figure out, like, oh, if I do this, then this happens. So like Pavlov's theory. So it's kind of like basically Pavlov's theory, kind of in that same thing. If I do this, I get this. If I do this, I get this. And so, but when she's doing certain behaviors, like, I have to run over there and grab her or something. So I don't know. I got to see, how much more she progresses and how much better she does, if that I would need that. Because there is one thing about it is, if you're constantly yelling at your dog or smacking your dog or pulling your dog or whatever it is, that can be worse than just training them with the Pavlov's theory, kind of you do this, this happens. You do this, this happens. Because they do catch on. Like, she's smart. He keeps saying, like, she's so smart. She catches on so quick. And my daughter had also said that. Like, my daughter had been training her when she was here, when I was first moving in, and she came, remember? And she just loves Ruthie. And she was out there doing all these trainings. She's like, oh my God, you can show her something one time. And she starts doing it. She's so smart. And so I know she's smart. He said she's smart. She catches on quick. But one thing about smart dogs is they want to learn. They want to know. They want to try. They can be exhausting. And she is. So, but I think, one of the parts is, I've got 4 dogs. And, we have an elderly one that's got issues. I got another sick fellow over here. I got this little guy who wants to be on my lap all the time. I got Miss Smarty Pants over here who also wants to be on my lap. And she's also got energy to spare from everybody else. And so, anyways, I just got the, the perfect storm of chaos. It's exhausting. But, so anyways, when we were out there working with her on the thing, so he had taken that other thing off, and he had only showed like a couple things, and when he did it, she just would like, what is that? Like, what is that? And so she'd try and like scratch like something. She could feel something, but she didn't know what it was. And so to me, even if I decided to, okay, well, I'm gonna try the shock collar because she just keeps not behaving, is that you'd have to be trained on that. Like, I wouldn't just get one and just go to town on it, especially if it can go up to 100. Like, I don't know. All these things, I think, a part of the dog training is the human training. It's the big part of it, is you being trained how to communicate and how to develop a better relationship with your dog. So a lot of the training is you. And so, yeah, I wouldn't just go, well, because you can order these things on Amazon, but, really, I think it's kind of not a good idea unless you know how to use all these things. Don't just jump in and think like, oh, well, this is common, this is popular, I'll just do this. Because, yeah, I think people would turn it up too high. I don't know. And I swear to God, I could hear it. I swear to God, I could feel it. And so that's another thing where it's like, ooh, would I even really want to have that? And so the, let me think. Oh, maybe some people who are like, you got electrocuted? And I know I told this story, but it was years and years ago. But yeah, when I was a kid, I got electrocuted. And I was going in to change my light bulb. And so I was a preteen, I think. And I went in to change my light bulb. And so I stuck my thumb in to turn it, but my light bulb was broken. So I stuck my thumb right into the electrical thing. And so it electrocuted me. And then, weirdly enough, I had other things throughout my life. It was weird. It was like that these entities follow me around trying to do it again. It was the weirdest thing. You wouldn't even believe how many weird things I had happened about that. But yeah, that one was, and the reason, it's something about, when you get electrocuted, it's got to have a place to move through you. And so, yeah, my other arm wasn't, so it just could zap me. But one thing too about 110 is it's not as deadly. Well, it can be. It depends on how it can move through you. It's more when it gets to the 220 volt, and then even when it goes up higher, then it's just forget about it. but 220 is pretty much like you're a goner. But 110, it can be how it moves through you. So yeah, I got zapped all that ways back when I was a kid, and it is but it's still something inside of me is very I don't know how to explain it, but I cannot handle any of those little things that they do, those little TINS units, these little whatever these little things are that they do a little zap on you. It's like, oh, hell no. Feels like it's like electricity going through my whole body. So anyways, but so when we were out there, and I'm a lot more like gentle and stuff with her, and he's not gentle. Like, and he's a big old guy too, and so at one point he grabbed her. She was doing something and he grabbed her thing to stop her, and she did kind of yelp, and I felt bad, like, oh, did that hurt her, my poor baby? And he said you should keep it on all the time. You shouldn't be taking it off because she's in training right now. And so, like, if she was at the boarding thing, she would have it on all the time. They would be training her all the time. And so right now she's in training, and I've got to stay on top of it. And but she doesn't have it on right now. Like, I still can't just be. He goes, it doesn't bother him like you would think it does. And but I'll put it back on her in the morning or whatever sometime today. And but also, I want to get her to listen and mind when it's just me and her. And I know when I did Stella's training, we only, and even when my mom was talking about when she was doing training with her Rottweiler, she said that it would be like she would go get the collar and she'd say, okay, it's time for school. Let's put your collar on. And then that was the same with Stella in that training. It was like when it's time to go to school, you put your collar on and then you do your training. And so, but in their theory is like, no, she's in training. You keep it on her all the time until she gets it. And so anyways, it's where you got to figure out what's good for you or what's not good for you. And so I was like, once he had hurt her, I felt bad. And then he always gives her for her treats and stuff of string cheese. And so we did this long walk, and she was working on heel, come, and here. I think here is the word. You got to have keywords, and you can't make them be more than one thing. Each thing has to have a keyword. And so here and come, I think, see, come and here, and then in the heel, but I don't remember. Anyways, I think it's like when I say here, and I'll say Ruthie, and he's like, you should use the word, and it's here, and so she comes up, and then she's already caught on. You just come up and you sit down. She's really good about that. And so she comes up, she sits down, and so then it's like pull her over and get her to go on the side, and then get her to walk, and then get her to stop, get her to stay. She's doing good with all of these things. Down, sit, stay, come, or here, heel, and all of these different things. But yesterday, see that when her and Max took off, then she didn't come back. She didn't listen to me, and I had to go out and look for them. And they were across the street. The people that are selling their house, and they had a whole like farm thing set up. And they even got a pond back there with swans and ducks and stuff, but they're moving, so nobody was there. And my dogs just go into their yard and then couldn't figure out how to get out. So I went into there and I got her, and she came with me, but Max, he just kept going further and further. He's like, nope, I'm staying. So I was like, okay, good luck to you. I guess the coyotes will get you for later, because if you're not going to come, you're making your choice. I didn't know what am I going to do? He just keeps going and going. So then I come, she gets in the car. Max is in the car having a fit because, he couldn't stand it that they weren't here. That's why we went out looking, because Max was having a nervous breakdown. So, Max was having to fit in the car, so Ruthie got in, so he was happy about that, but still, Max is also his friend. And so I come back, get them all in the house, and I look back out, and then I can see, oh, here comes Max, slowly coming. And it's like, dude, you could have got a ride, but now you're just gonna have to walk. And he'd be walking, and he'd have to sit and wait for a minute and rest a second, and then he'd start going again. I'm sure because his throat, because he still is not having a good swallow. He's still having issues with that, but the thing is I kept thinking like, oh, she probably doesn't like the trainer. He hurts her. She's probably scared of him or something. But she's so eager to please him. I think she really likes men. And so she's really eager to please him. She loves my brother too. And so she's super eager to please him. And then she goes running over to him and sits in front of him and gets her treats and stuff. And he says, oh, she really likes the cheese, which I'm going to get her some cheese at the grocery store Monday. And I'm thinking, I think she was like men for one thing. And then, so then we finish up and, he starts to go. And so I have her over by me. She wants to she starts chasing the truck and I had to get her to come back. And yeah, she's ready to go with him. She's ready to chase him. And so I think kind of yesterday when she took off down the driveway, she was going out looking for him. So even though I thought that he had hurt her, I think it is like dogs hurt each other all the time to boss each other around. I don't think she looks at it like, oh, my feeling, like how we would if somebody came up and smacked us and said, do what you're told. We'd be like, God, they're mean. But I don't think dogs react in the same way like that. I think dogs kind of, hit each other like that and slap each other, scratch it. Like that's kind of like their language. And so her getting a yank and, oh, like that, I think it's just like, she just is like, oh, he's telling me what to do. And they kind of like the dominance. They like to know, like, okay, this person, Max is on my cord. They've always all got to be on me. I swear to God. And, so anyways, I just think that she wasn't affected as much as I was. I was like, I felt so bad for her. So anyways, but I'm gentle on all of this stuff. I'm not like yanking her. I'm just kind of like, look, pull, like give her a little tug, like don't do that. And so, anyways, but today we're going to work on all of that stuff again. And the walking, come, sit, heel, and all of that. But she's doing really good so far. And so next week she has another one and he's going to come here again because this is a pretty perfect place for training. And because we have all this yard, and he said it is good too for her to learn her boundaries and how to behave in her own yard and stuff. And it's not just a yard though, it's acreage. And so then he has to go to something because he's a part of police dog training or something. So he's got to go to something the next week. So then the next week will be our last one. And then I said, well, we could go to the park because she does, like maybe that would be a good place, the dog park that she likes to go to. But now I'm thinking, I think I'll just do it here again. I think I'll just do it here and just, I think that's good enough. And then I'll see, how it goes. Is that after you do their one training, you're welcome to come to all of their group sessions. And every Saturday they have a group session where people can come and just to keep working on their stuff. So, so we have that available too, if I wanted to do that. But once you kind of learn what it is you need to do with the training, it's up to you kind of. So even if I went to keep having them, really it's just you have to just stay on top of it, and you have to just be consistent and not be confusing to the dog. That's why it's like a one word means this, one word means that, and get him to really understand what it is you're asking from them. And then whatever it is, some dogs, she's very treat motivated, but some dogs just, all you gotta do is give them a lot of lovins and pets and hugs, and they're like, oh, that's great, I love it. Which she likes both. Her love language is definitely touch and food. So anyways, that was all I was going to say about that. So anyways, we'll see what goes on today. Now it's Friday, so it's the end of the week, and it could be, we're going to be under some kind of danger danger, Will Robinson, and maybe it is going to be leading up to this whole thing with the Super Bowl. I have no idea. You know, we'll know when we go past. It's either it happened or it didn't happen. More things can happen. Anything can happen. That's where you got to stay on your toes. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Be prepared. Be prepared. And then not get too caught up in all of this stuff, because that is, you know, to keep you in your anger and your fear and your sadness and all that is to keep you in their three-dimensional world. And that gives them life, you know, and we want to pull out. We want to give ourselves life. We want to give ourselves the life we want, not trapped in the zoo of their existence. So, in order to do that, you know, you really got to work on you. You got to let go of a lot of stuff. And it's not just stuff that you've accumulated in this life. It's stuff you've accumulated in life after life after life after life. And so it's deep. There's deep wounds in there. And you have to learn how to purge out all of your pain and your desire to be controlled. You know, you got to move towards your independent state of being, confirmation, into your sovereignty, into your inner knowing, into your inner trust, into, you know, your connection to your inner being, and becoming, you know, who it is that you want to be. And it takes letting go of like patterns and, you know, it's like dismantling your cell. It's like releasing yourself from the prison you built around yourself to protect yourself. And so it's a process, you know, and you've been doing it for eons. And so now this is the time of this is the finishing the cycle. This is like you did all the work. Now you've got to go through it and release it, get rid, you know, figure out like where you really are in your growth. And so, you know, the way that you start really understanding is, you know, once you reach the ability of loving yourself, not feeling, and you'll still, like, I'll still have doubts and stuff, or I'll still be like, you know, days where it just feels like, God, I just feel hideous. I just feel like I'm just horrible, stupid, crazy, like, you know, and it's peaks and valleys, it's up and down, it's a roller coaster ride. And anytime you find yourself there, it's like, you know, at some point you got to allow yourself to feel your feelings, but then you have to be your own advocate. You have to be your own life coach. You know, you got to pull yourself up out of it, talk yourself off the ledge, and remind yourself that you're worthy, that you have, you know, that you have value. And that, you know, that's the love of self. Learning how to love yourself, learning how to love everybody else, because everybody has the same value. We're all the same. And so we got to value everybody, but we got to learn how to value ourselves before we can even attempt to love anybody else in that way. So learn how to love yourself, learn how to love everybody else, and then you're ready to start really veering through this obstacle course and figuring out like, well, nope, I don't have time for that. I'm going this direction. And really figure out where it is that you need to focus your energy, and that will create your reality. So anyways, those are the things that, you know, that's always the place to go. It's the destination. But all of these things pushing us is, you know, pushing us over the edge. So we'll see today what they have to offer, what's going to push us over, what's going to motivate us to want to get out of this place. So we'll see what comes today, and we'll talk about tomorrow. I did talk to Crystal, and so we're going to start doing Wednesdays. Wednesdays around, I think we decided 2 o'clock my time, 3 o'clock her time. And so Wednesdays, and I'm going to still try and figure out how to get this reminder on so you can click on for the reminder to come on. But that's going to be our thing. We're going to do it once a week, Wednesdays, 2 o'clock my time, 3 o'clock Central, and my time is Mountain. So that would be 1 o'clock Pacific and 4 o'clock Eastern. And so anybody who wants to join in is welcome to come and talk about whatever, but that's going to be what we're going to do. So we're not going to be tomorrow. We're not going to be live. We're not going live again till Wednesday. So, but I will be back tomorrow morning as long as the powers that be, the internet Lords allow it. So I'm going to start trying to download this one. We'll see what happens. So anyways, but we will talk again tomorrow. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.